what is relevancy, man? Like,
It's subjective. It depends on what it is to you. I mean, the thing about the mainstream media makes it seem like, oh, okay, this is our opinion, but this is everyone's opinion. It's like, no, that's not everybody's opinion. We all have different opinions based on our backgrounds, based on our individual experiences, right? So then, and based on also brainwashings that we've also received and programming. So adding all that up, you know, in addition to what you maybe live from a religious background, in addition to what you may believe from your parents, you know what I mean? You add that all up and you're like, that's, you know, this is my opinion. Or sometimes what's out in just because what's in the mainstream media, it says is like that's your opinion, doesn't mean that you have to accept that. And I think it's just really, a lot of it comes down to self-esteem. Most people just don't have, if you have good self-esteem, and then you realize that self-esteem is an ongoing thing. So you're constantly, you know, it's like you're constantly finding yourself, constantly reinventing yourself, you know what I'm saying, whether it's physically, spiritually, mentally, whatever the case may be. And your self-esteem is constantly growing, you know what I mean? Not necessarily, I mean, you don't have to have espresso Kanye self-esteem to where it's like, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's necessary for certain things. But, you know what I mean, just having enough confidence in knowing who you are and knowing that that's enough and that God has a purpose for your life. And once you tap into that, can nothing really stop you because you're in line.
you came to preach. Are we recording? All right, let me get the intro pop because we'll go forever from the jump. Listen.
Yo, I got a lot of living to do before I die. I ain't got time to waste. Time don't wait. Everything costs. Time been money. I don't fool with homie. Slime been funny. I don't do no jokes unless I'm the one telling them. Y'all nasty like 69. Y'all boys telling. Stay away from goofies. This is not a movie. Avoiding loopholes from U-Haul, you don't move me.
Peace, big love, big blessings, even bigger living, everything that come with it and everything in between. I'm Samuel David. And this is Thinking Out Loud with Samuel David. It's just a conversation. And as you can see on my side, I got a very special guest, which I'm about to get to. But first, I got to give the major love to our location, Mulberry Art Gallery. If you've been watching Thinking Out Loud since our inception, you're going to see we got a little different look as well, man. Shout out to my producer, Gabe. We turning this thing up to another level right now, baby. And make sure you like and follow on Instagram, Thinking Out Loud Convo. All the podcast spots where you get your podcast, Anchor, Spotify, iTunes, Amazon, Thinking Out Loud podcast, Thinking Out Loud with Samuel David. Enough of all that. Let me let y'all know about my special guest today. I only know where to start. I have somebody that's elusive but always there. He is a marketing and creative genius. One of the greatest leaders that I've seen. One of the most humble winners that I've seen, a connoisseur of the arts and the culture, founder of Festive ICT, my good friend, Nnanna. What's up, baby?
Hey, thanks, Sam. I appreciate that.
Hey.
That's as you say, that's big love.
Big love, big love. I like that. I like that. Man,
That's what's up, man.
my first question I like to ask people so I know where we're going with this conversation. How is your spirit, fam?
Yeah, so when I watched the other interviews, I was like, man, when he asked me that, I got to come up with a good answer. No, man, I'm thankful. My spirit is thankful right now, and that's what I'm trying to stay in that space, and I'm very thankful, and just searching for the next level that I'm trying to attain. You know what I mean? But I'm just very thankful right now.
Word. Thankful is perfect. It's Thanksgiving season.
Right.
When you say you searching for that next level, like where do you look? Because when you somebody, I look back and I be like, this man, Nnanna is the guy, right? Because the things that you're able to produce, the things you're able to execute on, where do you find that drive, or where do you search to find that new level to reach? Is it within you? Is it from the folks around you? Like where do you find that thing to give you that push to be like, yo, okay, let me take this to that next level?
I mean, well, first of all, thank you for even thinking of my stuff like that, because I don't really. My wife says I don't know how to live in the present because I'm always thinking about what's next. Wow. So I don't necessarily get a chance to sit down and appreciate everything I've accomplished. I just look at it as a goal that I knocked off the list. I'm on to the next thing. But to answer your question, I think it's a multitude of things, right? It's from within you, it's from your experiences, people around you. I get inspired by anything and everything. You know, what I mean, I try to be a sponge at all times, and whether it's being a proactive sponge or whether it's just just keeping my ears open to things that are happening around me. There was a quote by Andre 3000 where he was like, sometimes God to give everyone an idea and it'll just be in the air, and you'd be like, man, I thought about that. I had that same idea. Yeah. Or you see somebody else do that. You'd be like, man, I had that same idea. It's like, yeah, but maybe like 100 other people had the idea too. But one person was able to connect with the idea so passionately that they were able to bring it to fruition. You know what I mean? And I think that's what's important, because a lot of times, that's what it comes down to. It's like allowing yourself to be inspired by what's around you, not limiting yourself to what it is that society tells you to limit yourself to, and then understanding that you want to constantly find you have to constantly find your true self to grow. You know what I mean? And that's not, it's like, it's not something that you can just be like, okay, tomorrow I accomplished this and now I found my true self. No, you're going to be trying to find who that person is probably till you pass. You know what I mean?
Word.
So that's an extra long answer. I'm sorry.
You mad thought provoking, because you said so many things I want to pick apart, but I'm gonna hit on that last piece, right? That constantly finding something. I think of purpose a lot, like all the time. And I think a lot of times folks get purpose confused, like, yo, I'm walking in purpose, and they think it's like this singular monolithic thing. Right. But it's really like, I joke like I'm from the hood, right? So you give me a butter knife, right, I can either make a mayo sandwich, right, or I can open up the door that I'm locked out of. Right, so my purpose differs based on the situation I'm faced with. Right. Recognizing that you're not American born.
No, I'm not.
Right,
I'm from Nigeria originally, yes.
Nigeria.
Yes.
Something that I always apply my friends that are immigrants, right? Folks that are not naturally born here, or even folks that come into Wichita from out of different cities. Right. It's a different mindset that you take. How much did your background, did your upbringing influence the way you move and navigate the spaces you move in right now?
That's exactly why I'm able to do that, is because of my upbringing in Nigeria and my parents. First of all, being an entrepreneur, my mom and my dad were entrepreneurs. Mm-hmm. So the idea of being an entrepreneur was never new to me. Like I never like, I always knew I was going to own my own business. And I used to say it when I was in college and when I was in high school, and everybody looking at me like I was crazy. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? But it wasn't like I was trying to flex. It was just like I had seen my dad be an entrepreneur. I had seen him, so subconsciously I was like, okay, maybe that's what is my destiny. You know what I mean? I need to be an entrepreneur because these are my role models. As opposed to maybe if my mom had a 9-to-5 or my dad had a 9-to-5, mm-hmm, then I would be looking for a job. And also coming from Nigeria, that's what they want you to do. They want you to go to college and get a 9-to-5, be a doctor. I make this joke that if you're from Nigeria, your parents want you to be a doctor, a lawyer, an engineer, or a banker. Anything else is a failure. You know what I mean? And the reason why they pick those 4 things is because if you do well in school in those 4 things, 9 times out of 10 you're gonna get a job. You know what I mean? Yeah. And you will excel. You know what I mean? So it's they want security for you, obviously, but it's also a little bit selfish. At the end of the day, human beings should be able to pursue whatever dreams they want and go through whatever life experiences they need to be able to find who they are. Okay. But my background, I mean, that helps me. Obviously, also being in what they would consider a third world country, Nigeria, not having all the resources that you guys have here in America. But I was also coming to America a lot since I was a kid, so I was already kind of like Americanized in a sense to where I kind of like already understood where America was. It just wasn't. I just didn't live here, mm-hmm, so I wasn't really going through the like the everyday bumps and bruises that you would go through if you actually lived here. It looked like heaven. Because when you come on vacation, it looks like heaven. You're at Disney World, you're kicking it, you buying sneakers, you shopping at the malls. You know what I mean? It looks like what it's being promoted to look like. You know what I mean? But when you exactly. But when you live here, then you realize that it's a completely different thing.
This shit regular.
Well, it's just it's just it's completely different from what is being promoted. I'm not saying that America's a great country, but it's not perfect by any means. You know what I mean? There's definitely a lot of issues. But I do believe that if you're passionate about something in this country, that and you put your mind to it, and you're willing to go through the bumps and bruises to get to that, to attain your dream, you can make it happen. Wow. For various reasons. But yeah. My background, obviously I didn't have the chance to have my parents together when I was a kid. My parents were split, you know what I mean? Okay. But still, just the upbringing I have, the family I come from, that really helped me here in Wichita and gave me the drive. My mom is extremely driven. My dad is extremely organized. And I don't even feel like I'm as driven or as organized as my parents, you know what I mean? Yeah. But that's just some things. And my dad's a great leader, an amazing leader. My mom's a huge dreamer. I mean, she she dreams really, really big. So these are some of the traits that I think that were passed down to me too. And I dream big. To me, the sky is the beginning. There is no limit. People say the sky is the limit. I'm like, that's just where we're starting at. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna find out what them. Just like you don't really know what your limit is until you get pushed, right? You may be able to box, you may be able to do all different things.
Hey, push is your thing. Is that was that on purpose? I'm a rapper, so it should just be connected.
No, well, K-Push stands for keep praying or pushing until something happens. Okay. So that's basically where that came from, and that was kind of like a word that I think I had at the time when I created that. Well, I needed something to kind of keep me going, and that's what I think God gave me. That was the message at the time. So
that's fine. It's dope hearing you talk about your parents and the traits that you see in them, because I swear, as I watch you move, as I have conversations with you, as I engage in different situations with you, that's how I see you. Well organized, great leader, right? I
try to be.
Listen, you're somebody that I could legit just shut up and listen to, and that don't happen often with me. If I'm gonna be a buck with you, right? As you talk about your background, you talk about coming to America, word to Prince Hakeem and them. What were some of the challenges that you faced coming to America? With this idea that you can do whatever you want to, you know what I'm saying? You coming over here yo, I can do whatever I want to do, and you do that. But what challenge did you face early that you had to push through resistance-wise?
There's a video of Nipsey Hussle where he says, I went through, he was like, there's no difference between my story and anybody else's story. Right. The only difference is that I didn't give up. I went through every emotion, right? Sometimes I feel like that is my story too. So just gonna start that up. I went through everything. The first thing was obviously here at the time I was 18. You know what I mean? The way I looked at life was just different. Yeah. And in 6 months, my perception changed. You know what I mean? And the next 6 months, my perception changed again, and it just keeps changing. And then one thing I love about America is that it'll make you mentally tough. You know what I mean? I think that's very, 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 very important. And I think a lot of Americans take that for granted. A lot of Americans are mentally tough, because especially a lot of African Americans and a lot of minorities, because of the things you had to go through. You know what I mean? There's a lot of trauma there, but also that gives you a certain edge that the average person doesn't have, or who may not have had to go through that. It doesn't necessarily have to be discrimination. It could be just not having the privilege to do something else that somebody else did, and because you didn't have that privilege, but you still had that dream, that same hunger, that same desire, you created your own. You know what I mean? I went through all kinds of things. I went through everything. An immigrant, the list is long. An immigrant would go through in America, but I think one of the biggest things was I had to become mentally strong to be able to deal with American society. The way American society operates is different from the way other societies operate. You know what I mean? So
coming from Nigeria, it's all black.
Yeah,
Or
it's all black.
It's all Nigerian.
It's all black. Yes, all black. Yeah, yes.
Do you
Mostly
come
black.
over and do you see America as like a black and white thing, or like how do you, because I know we had a conversation where you were talking about even just like Civil War in Nigeria and things
Right.
like that, and everybody's black, so it hits different than.
Yeah, I mean, like, in America, everywhere you go, you're fighting someone. That's how I would say. It's just human nature. So I always say, if say you don't want to, say you're like, you know what, I'm done with America. I'm moving back to Nigeria because I did my ancestry, and that's where I found out where I was from, right? Yeah. So now you move back to Nigeria. Well, you find out that in Nigeria there's tribalism. So these guys are black and these guys are black, but their tribes don't mess with each other. And you can. So now it's not even like, like, you know how they be like, let's marry within the community, right? It's like, yeah, literally, you have to marry within your tribe, like, because you can't go, like, you know what I mean? She's black, but that's not gonna cut it. Her blackness is not gonna cut it. She's not in our tribe. So there's tribalism, you know what I mean? And there's tribalism in Indians, there's tribalism in other, you know what I mean, in other cultures as well. But I just think that in America, the reason why it is because of the history of America. That's what it comes down to, is American history is the reason why things are the way they are. It's not even like, just organically, there was just this hate that just brewed. It's like, no, there was a cause, well, there was also a cause, and this is the effect of that. You know what I mean? The perceptions, the things that have happened is like, you know, it's there's a divide. You know what I mean? African Americans are the only people who didn't come to America by their own accord. Like, you know what I mean, they were brought to America. It's not like cats were like, oh yeah, like we want to go to America. Everybody else was like, after America was developed by African Americans and other people that they brought in, everybody else was like, now let's come and reap the benefits of that. But that's also how it was promoted to everybody else. It's like, you know what I mean, it's the land of milk and honey. So come through. So if it's promoted like that, of course, you know, I mean, people are gonna gravitate towards that, you know what I mean? But without necessarily knowing the story, the real stories of who built the country and the bad and the good of the history and all that stuff. So, I mean, I want to keep rambling. Go ahead.
No, man, I told you, somebody I can listen to all day and be cool with it. But I think about that a lot, right? Especially like black on black thing. You talk tribalism. I was talking with one of my older white friends, like. And he's probably 10, 15 years my senior. And it was around the time of like, and I won't get too political today, but in time of like the insurrection and stuff. And I was like, bro, I never really realized like white people didn't like each other. Right. But it's like,
they have two democratic parties.
They exactly, right? There was a whole civil war, right? Like all of this stuff. So, but I say that to say like, that's something that, I mean, I'll go all the way, but something I think about when I think about like immigrants who you see things differently. And it's like, yo, okay, just because that's an issue, like that's not gonna be an issue. And I love that. Like I liken it to HBCU. Like somebody's gonna be a minority at an HBCU.
But not all immigrants think like that though. Some immigrants come over and feel the same way African Americans feel about the situations. And it's not like, it's not like I don't feel that way. It's just I don't look at things. Everything isn't black and white. A lot of life is gray. You know what I mean? And so I feel like you have to deal with things individually. You know what I mean?
I would even say I don't know that all black folks think like the woe is me piece even. Right? Like I think because of the strife and the challenges and the oppression, like we've been some of the dopest at this life thing. Right. Right. And so it's definitely like certain people get conditioned to.
History says that black folks were the first on the planet. So that means that we also accomplished a lot before the world, the world was changed. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So it's not just because of the stuff that African Americans went through. Before that, mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like, and it's not just Egyptians. There were other black people in Africa that were doing amazing things too across the world, whether it's in science and different disciplines. You know what I mean? And different areas. Mm-hmm. I just think. Obviously, you just have to do the history, and once once you do the history, you'll be able to see the richness in the culture and in who you are, and obviously, hopefully, that can motivate people to feel like a sense of pride. Which I just feel like as a human being alive, you should already feel a sense of pride.
For sure.
You know what I'm saying? Just because you're alive every day, that should already give you a sense of pride. Okay, the fact that I'm alive, that means that God still believes in me and is giving me another chance. Right. So I need to be amped, have high energy, be motivated, look at my dreams, try and help as many people as I can help, try and solve as many problems as I can solve, and you know what I'm saying? Like try and be a better person today than I was yesterday. The goal, I think, is to come to this planet, and when you leave, you want to leave it better than you can. Better than it was when you got here. I think that's the goal. That means that you affected life in a positive way, and there's so many different ways. There's just not one way to do that. You know, it's not just through entertainment or through this or through sports. Or there's so many ways to do that. It's just finding what that skill you may have or the purpose you may have, and then you know what I mean, leaning into it.
Yeah, I told you. I just listen to you, bro. It's not often people motivate the motivator. You feel me? And so I
appreciate that, son.
Definitely. Anytime you want to come and just talk, I'm gonna just listen, bro. And it's wild because I ain't even got into our questions, which is even more amazing. Sheesh. Well, now I'm trying to wrap my head around this whole thing. Now, if I want to keep going where you at, or if I want to dive into these questions.
How much time do we have?
But we talk culture, right? And I definitely want to hit on some of these things. We're gonna be all over the place a little bit, but you talk culture, and you're somebody that I recognize as a major part of this culture here in the town, surrounding areas, in the world even, because your impact. What made you look at Wichita and be like, oh, these things are missing? Let's do a pizza festival. Let's do a shoe festival. Let's get these markets. Let me get these markets together with these small businesses and highlight that, right? Because I talk about the Black Renaissance in Wichita a lot. Like we're finally in a space where we have people who recognize their power in the space, whether it be political, whether it be in the arts, whether it be in the business and the acumen and the education of business. We got different athletes that are making things move, and you play a major part in that.
Thank you.
What made you?
If you think so.
I know it, and it's even wilder, right? Because I like to do a little bit of research before the show, and I was googling, and I was on Facebook looking you up, and I was all the way back in like 2011, and I came across a K-Push flyer at Krista Knight's, and I was like, whoa! I was tagged, and this is a throwback. So you've been active and moving for a minute.
I've been out here.
But what made you shift to like truly the festival space with Festive ICT?
We didn't really support local in Wichita. We were begging people to support local. We were campaigning for people to support local. You know what I mean?
Straight up.
This is like pre the local hype in Wichita.
Yeah.
But eventually because we and this is not just me. This is a bunch of different people. I mean, I could name there's certain people I could name that championed the local scene, from Jen Ray, who owns the Monarch, to Adam Harkey, to Ant. I mean, the list goes on, to a lot of dope musicians like Tony No, Jenny Wood, a lot of cool bands, venue owners like the Brickyard. I mean, there were so many people that believed in Wichita local music. It just needed the support that it has now. And just Wichita local in general, not just music, but the arts and everything. So the festival space was just the next level. I mean, it was the next level for me, and I had all these dreams and all these ideas of things I wanted to do. But I just needed to take that leap. And I kind of, before I started doing festivals, I actually took a little break, just to kind of get my mind right and make sure that it was really what I wanted to do. And once I knew that's what I wanted to do, I created Wichita Taco Fest and Pizza Fest, and obviously Festive ICT. And prior to that, we were already doing the sneaker show and a bunch of other events as well. But we created Taco Fest because the idea that a Taco Fest didn't exist in Wichita blew my mind, given that it was such a popular food item. And I knew about a couple others in different markets, and and the taco scene. I mean, I'm going to say it here on your podcast. It wasn't even lit like that.
It wasn't even lit. This is what I've been looking for. Talk your shit.
Like it wasn't even lit like that until we did Taco Fest. That really opened up the market, and that's what it's about. You know what I mean? I'm not trying to take credit for it. I'm just saying like what happened. You know what I mean? Like what happened is that it opened it up. A lot more restaurants were born. That space in general, there was a lot more money being made for the local community. And that's what it's about at the end of the day. You know what I mean? It's about keeping the lights on and allowing people to sustain their businesses for 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 years, 10 years, decades, you know what I mean? And if we can do an event or we can come up with an idea at the right time that can do that, glory be to God. That's how I look at it. So with all those ideas, we put out Taco Fest, we put out, obviously the first year was crazy. And then we had to come back and redeem ourselves and let everybody know that we knew exactly what we were doing. We just weren't really expecting the love. That's how I look at it. Like, you know what I mean? I don't actually look at it bad. It's just like we just weren't expecting the love. But
what they call it, an overwhelming response.
Yes, beyond overwhelming. But now that we know y'all love it, boom, we'll now adjust accordingly because we tested the market and it responded 100 times better than we could have ever anticipated, you know what I mean? So, and that's a good problem to have long term. So, obviously, you know, we were able to do that. Pizza Fest.
Taco Fest has even expanded past just Wichita.
Yes. We've done Kansas City. We just did Lawrence. Looking at Oklahoma, looking at other markets as well. That was the original plan anyway. Was to be this brand from Wichita that nobody. When I started doing events in Wichita, people used to laugh at me, and I remember, I never forget. Like people used to always be like, "Bro, you really think that you're gonna do events in Wichita and they're gonna work?" And I'd be like, "Why not?" And they'd be like, "Bro, it's whack here." And I'd be like, "That's just your perception." You know what I mean? Wichita, God built the entire earth, right? Mm-hmm. Which means that everywhere is blessed. Every land is blessed. Everywhere has something. You just gotta tap into it. You know what I mean? Most people be like, "Oh, I want to move to Dallas because there's more opportunities." Yeah, there may be more opportunities maybe for what you're trying to do. You know what I mean? And you may not necessarily want to create your own lane. That's cool, but that doesn't mean that you should like be like, "Oh, Wichita is whack," because it just didn't work out for you here. Because it may not work out for you in Dallas, and guess where you'll be? Right back in Wichita, because that's what you know. That happens a lot. So it's really just dealing with situations individually. Pizza Fest, we did that for 2 years. Took a break with that just because there's a lot of logistics that go into it that just didn't allow us to keep doing it. But then we created Margaritas and Mojitos, which is our cocktail events. Yeah. And then I had Shop and Grub for like 5 years. I had that idea for like 5 years. Mm-hmm. Like I had that idea the same time I had Taco Fest, but it was completely different name. Yeah. And I was just trying to simplify it. Like, how do I simplify it? Because it's basically a food market. The goal was to do a food market and like a flea market and kind of merge them. You know what I mean? And that's still, we're still trying our best to figure out how to improve it and make it better every day. It's been embraced by the community ever since we launched it during COVID. So we're very thankful for that. Obviously, we're doing our final market this Sunday at the Exploration Place outside on the Festival Plaza. Weather's looking like 50. That's looking good with the sun. With the sun out there. We have about 52 vendors. So it's going to be, this is going to be the one with probably the most food we've had in a while. So there's going to be a lot of food. We have some vendors giving away free coffee. Some vendors giving away cinnamon rolls. Like let me just name them. Beyond Legend Coffee, great dude. He's giving away 50 small coffee bags to the first 50 people that come to his booth, and he'll also have some coffee on tap. Just to keep people warm as well. Esperanza Coffee Roasters is another one. They're giving away 50 cups of coffee with cream and sugar. And then Roxy's on the River is another one that's giving away 50 cinnamon rolls. These are like award-winning cinnamon rolls. She's giving away for the first 50 people that come to her truck. And obviously just because of, first of all, they have great hearts.
Clearly.
And then obviously the season, and they love the market, and they've been supporting from day one. And so we're just thankful. So I just want to shout them out, but while I was explaining. But
something that I think is really dope about Shop and Grub, and I think it's a testament to Wichita as well. First off, I always think Wichita is the niche, right? Like once people recognize, like, yo, if you celebrate this thing that we have, you're gonna win. Right. Like we in Revolution and Wichita flags all over the place. Right. And with that, Shop and Grub is able to put so many different folks who may have the same demographic or product, but they have different personalities attached to the product. Right. And there's no issue or no stepping on each other's toes, right? Because everybody's celebrating each other. You just named off 4 different coffee spots that's gonna be passing out free coffee, right? Like, how is that type of culture cultivated? Like, when you look at it, like, why do you think it's so easy to get that off here?
Shop and Grub works because there's no, before Shop and Grub, well, first of all, before Shop and Grub, markets weren't even really about food. I mean, they would have, some of the markets out here would have food trucks, but they didn't really make it a thing. They didn't promote their food trucks. Like, they didn't promote the food. They didn't make the food like a big part of the event. It was just like come market. And then it was like only handmade type stuff or handcrafted, which means that you had to make the stuff. So you had to be, you know, in Shop and Grub, I'm like, are you a quality business person? Do you have good products that's hip, that's cool? And whether you're reselling, whether it's vintage clothing, I mean, and one of our things is vintage clothing. Our vintage dealers, that's one of the big things about Shop and Grub. And then, you know, other people like your wife, for example, who resell clothes as well and things of that nature, that does really well at Shop and Grub as well. So, you know, and then we have lots of jewelry, home goods, you know, people sell candles, arts, I mean, I could go on and on. There's so many different kinds of vendors. And that's what I think was the cool thing about Shop and Grub, was that because we took off all the restrictions, it gave a lot of people more confidence to come out and be like, hey, I got some stuff, I got a business, I got some ideas too, I got some stuff that I'm working on. I can't get into these other markets because I'm not a maker, but can I get into your market? And I'm like, yes, you know what I mean? Now, obviously in the past, we've not been able to fit everyone into the market, but we're hoping that as we move over to exploration place, which is what we're doing now, we'll be able to accommodate more, more vendors. But yeah, that's one reason why it's working. And the food. Wichita is a food city. Anything you do with food in this city is going to work. That's not even like, I mean, you have to do it right. The strategy has to be right. It has to make sense. But if it's food related, 9 times out of 10, you're not going to lose. You know what I mean? And I think a lot of people are scared to go into the food industry because it takes work. It's a very tough industry, whether you're doing events or you're selling a product or you own a restaurant or whatever it is, it's a tough industry to be in. So it can be scary, but if you're in a market that's what people love, I mean, have you seen the Wichita Food and Booze group?
I'm on that page all the time.
It has like 110,000 members. Yeah. That enough should tell you what we're about. Fact. We're about food here. Fact. You know what I mean? So, and if you notice, some of the biggest festivals other than Riverfest are food events, like the Chili Fest, like Taco Fest, you know what I mean, like Zubilee, the Bacon Fest, you know what I mean, you know, different Blocktoberfests that happen, you know what I mean, or there's the Wine Fest or the Beer Fest. That's part of, it's part of the culture here. So why not embrace that, you know what I mean, instead of trying to change it and come something new. I think it's more about figuring out what you have, you know, first of all, if you want to start a business, you have to figure out what are you offering a product or a service? Yeah. You know what I mean? And if you're offering a product or a service, it's not a product or service to yourself. You may like your product and the service that you're offering, but it's not for you. You know, it's not necessarily for you. It's for a certain type of person. It's not for everyone, hopefully not. It's for a certain type of person. And if you can hone in on who that person is, and that service has value or that product has value, that person will patronize your business. That's just the law. You know what I'm saying? That's just how it works. You know what I mean? But I just think in Wichita, I mean, I love Wichita. I just think there's a lot of potential here. My wife is from here. My kids were born here. Wichita has been good to me. There's definitely a lot of issues. There's definitely a lot of issues, but there's also a lot of good. And I think instead of complaining about the issues, why not focus on the good? You know, I could critique Wichita all day too, but why do that when I could point out the good things, and then how can we double down on those things that are good, because they're already shining. So now let's just double down on those things and make them shine even brighter. You know what I mean? But you know what's funny about Wichita is that we'll dog Wichita, but as soon as somebody else from the outside dogs Wichita, it's a wrap.
Yeah, you can't say nothing about my family. I can talk about them, but not you. Right.
Like the one dude that was like the mayor of New York that was like, Kansas doesn't have a brand. Everybody's
Yo.
mad. Everybody was mad about it. I'm like, yeah, but y'all the first ones to be like, screw Kansas. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's
You know,
like,
the part that bothers me when I see that conversation happen, like when people are talking bad about shit, is I never see them at the shit they're talking bad about. Right? And people, from a music space, people always talk about supporters. When I look at different festivals and things like that, people talk about there's nothing to do. But I'm like, I never see you at these things when they're being done for you even to have an opinion.
so much to do. There's so much. But another event we created. I don't want. I was listen to my
Talk your shit.
This year we created the Hoop Jam, and that is personally, other than the sneaker show, that's probably like my favorite events. Like you know what I mean. Like the sneaker show and the Hoop Jam are probably those are probably like my like close to my heart. You know what I mean? Because of how much I love basketball and how much I love sneakers.
Yeah.
The Hoop Jam is an event I've been working on for like 10 years.
Word.
In my mind, if you can believe that.
I can believe it.
You know what I'm saying? Like I just never gave up. And once the time was right and I was able to I was in the right position all around the board and I was able to, you know what I mean, make my move. By the grace of God, I did, you know what I mean? And it worked out the way it did. So we're gonna bring that back next year. And we're trying to, I got plans for that, you know what I mean? Like we got plans for that. But the reason why I did that also is because Wichita is also a sports city, you know what I mean?
We love
Right, yes. And the youth, a lot of the youth supported that event. And I heard that even after the event, a lot of kids in schools were like raving about it, like, man, that was basically a huge thing for the summer. So I think, which was the goal, you know, the goal is just to make, my goal with my events is to make Wichita the way I see it, but actually do it. Like so, it's like I think Wichita is cool. Well, okay, I gotta put my money. If I say that, I gotta put my money where my mouth is. You know what I mean? Like I can't just say Wichita is cool and then not be able to show it. You know what I mean? So if I'm advocating for, especially if I'm not being from here, if I'm advocating for Wichita, I have to be like, oh, okay, I gotta put on a good event, or I gotta be able to take someone to a really good restaurant, or you know what I mean, show you a really good part of town, or when you come, or if, you know, this is in regard to an outsider again, you know what I mean? So, but I think there's a lot of potential here.
Let me ask this, because you bring different folks in. I've actually built some relationships just based on folks you brought, like the EB family from Las Vegas. Right. I built relationships with them from 7 years ago, which is real. You actually gave me my first. Nnanna, you're the reason I want to host and I MC. You told me one time. You told me one time, like, I got the Will Smith thing. I ain't smacking Chris Rock or nothing, but you was like, yo, rap is cool, but you would be really dope in this space, and I appreciate that. But the question I was looking at, and we'll get to that even. What's the restaurants you take folks to when you bring them in from out of town? Like, what's that spot you like? Yo, we gotta go here. I'm gonna put you on.
It depends. I really like First Mark Kitchen and stuff like that. First Mark Kitchen. It's a newer one, but it's really dope.
They got like the big old charcuterie. I can't say the word right. The board.
Charcuterie board. Yeah, but that's not why I go there, because the menu is like, I mean, they got like a bunch of different cool things on the menu. You know what I mean? I like menus that have like cool different things. Like
cool, like what? I mean, like what's cool?
Like just I mean, everything they do is just different. You know, even if they give you a burger, it's gonna be a little different. Wow. But they have like this bone marrow dish that's crazy. You know what I mean? Which obviously some people are like, some people that may not be your portion, but yeah. I thought it was cool. And then there's a bunch of different things like that. Like, you know, I just think it's a really cool place. Check it out, First Mark Kitchen. They have a spot over there across from Twin Peaks on Rock. And then they have a canteen, like a First Mark canteen here downtown. I think it's more like a breakfast brunch type.
The Union Station?
No, it's down here. It's down here somewhere on Broadway and First or something. It's do your Googles. But yeah, so First Mark Cantina is a really good one. Sabor is a really good one. If you know what I mean, like Sabor is good, and then obviously if you want Mexican, Tacos TJ's is a good one. Los Compadres is a good one. La Hacienda is a good one. Let me see. If you wanted Asian, I mean, it just depends on what you like. You know, there's a lot of. I don't even think I'm good. Like when it comes to the Asian, like I be trying to like have my friends hook me up. Like let me like put me onto the good Asian spots. Like because I still go to like Malaysian cafe because that's like my because I mean I've been doing that since I was in college. Yeah. His menu ain't changed and it's still legit. Like I'm like, how can you be consistent for 20 years, dog? Like you know what I mean? Like so, but I love Asian food, love Mexican food, love African food. There's an African restaurant in Wichita called Afrobeat Cuisine, Afro Cheat Cuisine. I'm sorry, I think, and they got some really good food too. It's food places. There's a pastry shop that just opened called Paris Baguette. Yeah. I haven't been there yet, but I want to go check that out. But you know what I mean? Like these are all it's all here in Wichita. You know what I mean? Like you ain't got to go for a certain, when it comes to quality food, you don't have to go far. You know what I mean? It's not like we have a ton of options, but we have some really, really good options, and you have to appreciate what you have. Yeah. And there's a bunch of cool things happening. You know, getting the Top Golf, we got Chicken and Pickle. Yeah. There's a lot of cool development going on downtown. I mean, there's stuff happening in Derby. There's stuff happening on the west side. Stuff happening in Andover. There's stuff happening. You just have to tap into it. You know what I mean? Every land is blessed. You just got to tap into the land. You know what I mean? And I think if you're able to do that successfully, you'll be able to reap the blessings. You know, I just
I like that. I had to ask you that because my next question was about marketing and branding, and like that being, I know that's one of your specialties, and you just, I mean, those places already had high profiles, but you mentioning those places just blew the profile up even that much more because your word is golden.
So I want to say disclaimer, like sometimes if you ask me a question and I may go off a tangent. That's just how we rap. You know what I'm saying?
We just thinking out loud. It's just a conversation.
Yeah. It may seem like some of my answers are like long-winded or like random, but that is how I just let the public know. That's how we chop. Yeah, that's how we chop. Yeah, it's a bunch of ongoing ideas that interrupt each other.
Yeah, that's a line of genius though, man. I was looking at something and I don't know how official it was, but it was like from a psychology page that I was looking at, and it was talking about the intersections between giftedness, ADHD, and autism, right? And like and the giftedness side, you had certain traits at the top, of course, but like some of the interlocking traits, and I'm like, yo, it's wild how we categorize and classify things when all of it is just a level of genius, I believe, right? That may just be misunderstood. Absolutely. Or communicated in a way that may not. Like my wife hates when I talk like that because I'll be all over the place. She's like, bro, just get to it. I'm like, no, I gotta get there because if not, you're gonna be like, what are you even talking about? I want to provide context and all of that shit. And I'm gonna keep saying it because I never shut up on the show. But I'm gonna listen to you talk all freaking day.
That's why you start with big blessings, big love.
All of that. Big love, big blessings, even bigger living, everything in between. It's just a conversation. We're just thinking out loud. So a question I want to ask, especially in light of recent events in the culture, and this is a show that I always tell myself like I wasn't gonna get too much into pop culture because I don't be giving a shit, but I care. But the other part that I recognize is the conversation that comes from those topics and situations, right? So you mentioned like basketball and shoes being some of your favorite spaces, right? Especially the Hoop Fest and the I Got Soul. You see, I got my Adidas on and I was putting them on. I was like, damn, are we rocking Adidas?
Yeah, can they see my kicks?
I don't think they might be able to see your kicks.
Yeah, well, you know. Easy 700s laceless.
Come on, man. That part, and I'm sure your shoe closet is bananas.
I mean, it's getting there. I mean, I never talk about my closet because I know people that's their closet. I could never even dream about allowing myself to spend that kind of money on shoes. Like their closet is so crazy. So I never talk about my collection. Like my collection is just my collection. It's not even crazy like that. I got stuff that I like. How about that?
That's fair. I got like 7 pair of shoes in there. 3 of them are boots, 2 of them are house shoes, and a pair of sandals. I really don't have too many tennis shoes because I don't leave the crib.
Practicing minimalism?
I'm not practicing. I got kids. It's mad real. No, it's why you talk about the different shoe closets. And I'm going to go back to where I was trying to go a second ago. But me and Little Sam were watching Oklahoma City. I can't remember who they were playing against. The Thunder playing. And was it Miami?
No,
Just this last week. and I seen the brother from Kiklahoma.
Juan. Yeah, he out there courtside. What's up, Juan?
And I was like,
you see me courtside?
I said, yo, Sam, I got pictures with bro. Like, I know him. Like, that's dope. You talk, you know, sneaker heads, right? But kind of going back to what I was talking about, with my line of thinking, what are some of your thoughts in regards to like Kanye and Kyrie, and not necessarily, maybe not even what they said, but their punishments for their thoughts? Because there's no action, right? When I look at things, right, I'm like, yo, there's no action that has hurt anybody. Thoughts don't hurt. Conversation don't hurt, because communication is how you resolve conflict, right? That you hold people accountable through conversation as well, through helping them understand the impact of their words. But do you feel like it's too harsh in that space?
Let me pull. I gotta take a Kanye and let me think about that.
Think about it.
Nah, I'm just joking. But I think Kanye, or Ye, I call him Kanye. I think Kanye is a horrible communicator. Like horrible. I don't think he usually means harm. I just think he's just a horrible communicator. He just does a horrible job at communicating to the general public what's on his mind. And it comes out wrong most of the time. And your words hurt people. You know what I mean? That is what it comes down to. So whether or not you mean it, if you're, it could hurt someone. If you hurt someone, you have to take responsibility for that. But I just think he's. I don't even want to say misunderstood, because to be misunderstood would mean that you understand what the person is. You're trying to understand what the person is saying. It's like he says one thing, but he's really trying to say something else. You know what I mean? Or it's not supposed to be as damaging as he does. Like, you know what I mean?
Wild thing, and I always bring my wife to talk about. We talk more than anybody I talk to. But when Kanye was like 300 years of slavery sounds like a choice to me.
Right.
At service level, that sounds bananas.
Right.
But I'm like, yo, the wild thing about that statement in the life of contradiction, one of my goals is to like always expose contradiction in human nature, right? Is around that same time he made that statement, we were watching Black Panther cheering on Killmonger, who's like, bury me in the ocean with my ancestors because I'd rather die than be a slave, right? Or you look at Harriet Tubman, Nat Turner, who's like, yo, we gonna revolt. So
that's how I took it. I took it like he meant like, yo, the fact that it went on this long feels like, bro, like there should have been like 1 million revolts. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Or basically like, I shouldn't be the only one out here revolting. Everybody should be revolting. That's kind of how I took it. It's like, yo, I shouldn't be the only one basically going after, the people that control everything. Or let me say that. I shouldn't be the only one that appears to be willing to lose everything based on what I believe in. But the thing about that is that that's your upbringing, bro. That's how that's what you believe, bro. You know what I'm saying? Everybody doesn't have to believe what Kanye West believes. I think that's the biggest thing. Is like, I also think that his genius is not even in music. I think, I don't remember the last time I listened to Kanye. Well, just for me personally, I'm not a musical, like Kanye doesn't do it for me musically. Like he's not, like I've tried to listen to Donda 1 and 2. And I don't think My Dark Twisted, I think My Dark Twisted Fantasy is a 4.5 mics. On a scale of 5 mics to 4.5 mics. It's not, I don't think it's a perfect album like everybody says it is. I think Jesus is underrated as an album. Super, just from the concept of the cover, just the entire concept, the marketing shot, everything of that album is I love that. I love that album. That's my favorite. And I really don't care for the old Kanye either. Like I really don't care for the new Kanye either. Like Kanye is, you know what I'm saying? It's like I take what I get, meaning that like what I like about Kanye is his boldness. I like that he's not scared that he believes in his dreams so much that he puts them into fruition. I like that he understands what's going on in the world from a perspective of companies trying to take over everything with marketing and the control, and also I'm trying to expose that. But sometimes I look at like, maybe he's just only exposing it because he can't get action. You know what I'm saying? So it's like he's pissed and he's exposing it. But then again, who really cares? Like, you know, if the product is good, like for example, I love some of the sneakers because they're comfortable. Yeah. It's not because of the look; they're just comfortable, and I need comfortable shoes because I got a bad knee, so I need shoes. When my heel hits the ground, I gotta feel some level of comfort. You know what I'm saying? Like that's just me. So I'm not like, oh, I don't take it so personal like some people do, because I don't believe that Kanye speaks for the entire black culture or for any culture. I don't think he speaks for the fashion culture. I think he speaks for himself. Now, if you want to, and he has a group of dedicated fans, which he deserves because he's put in the work in different disciplines to do that, in music and fashion. And he's changed a lot of things. You know what I mean? We used to only care about Nikes. Then we cared about Nikes and Yeezys. A black man did that.
We only cared about gangster
you know what I'm
rap.
saying? Yeah, you know what I mean? And he switched that up. He's changed a lot. He's done a lot of things. But his genius is not. I think his genius is in his ability to believe in himself so much that he can literally will it into fruition.
He makes every no a yes.
Yes.
Question I always have, right? Especially when we talk Kanye, we talk Dave, and we're gonna talk a little about Kyrie as well. Why does it seem like we always need a savior? Like,
oh man, I love that you brought that up. Oh yeah.
I don't understand. I don't understand, but then I do, right? Because it's like, yo, we need somebody to champion what we're saying, because I can't lose it all. But if Kanye loses his billions, but I like some of the things he says, or if Kyrie, then they're saying what I can't. Like what?
First of all, I can't. First of all, I saw a bunch of people worried about Kanye losing money. I'm like, why don't you worry about having life insurance first? Worry about having life insurance before you worry about somebody else losing money.
Come on, man.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
come on, man.
I mean, only people who don't have money say things like he lost $1 billion. Like he couldn't keep his mouth shut enough to lose $1 billion. Now he's only worth 400 million. Only. Do you know what 400 million is? Man, even if you were worth 50 million liquid, you know what that is? First of all, to be in the 1%, I think it's only like 400, like 600,000 is what you have to be making to be in the 1% in America.
You have to be making.
Yes, I think it's like, I could be wrong, correct, I could be wrong, so do the research, but it's not like a lot of money. When I was younger, I thought it was like, you had to be like, you know, because you talk about the 1%. So people like LeBron are not even on the scale. Most NBA players are not even on the scale.
Of the 1%.
Of the percent, because they're making millions of dollars. To be in the 1%, you only, the assistant coach is in the 1%.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, and that's if he wasn't a star. That's if he wasn't a star in his previous career. I already made his millions. You know what I mean?
But back to the savior. Like, why do we? What's up with that? What do you think?
I think. I mean, it's. What's the best? Well, what's the best way to answer it? I just don't see a need for it. But I think there's money in that also. There's money in that in having a savior. You think about churches, you think about local politics, national politics, being able to single out one person and have everybody be able to put the blame on that person or put all the hope in that person. There's money in that. It's also a way of control. I mean, but also it's like, you know, it's like, based on the stories we've heard and based on everything we've heard, you feel like, man, when you know, I don't know if I'm the right person to ask sometimes because I'm not African American, so I don't look at. It's like I don't look at.
But you're human.
Yeah. I don't look at it like I don't have the same feelings because. My ancestors didn't go through the same things that your ancestors went through. You know what I'm saying? So I have the same feeling of just human nature. Like, yo, that is wrong. And then I have the same feeling because as a black person in America, whether I'm African American or Nigerian, I experienced that, on the surface too, just based on my skin color. But I also understand that it's brainwashing. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's just like, I mean, Like
But it's not even just the African American thing, even.
well,
Like I think to politics, right? And I think Trump showed it more than any president, is that like people need somebody that champions their that they put their hope in, their faith in, and
yes, and I think everyone there's a lot of money in it, but I don't know why, especially like minorities or let's just say African American culture feels like yes we need to say, because I feel like everybody individually has the power to do great things. 100%. So one person, even if you had a savior, he's not going to get it done if he doesn't have the collective help of everybody in different areas. You know what I'm saying? In a community, you may have leaders, but you still need the laundromat. You still need the pharmacy. You still need the local hospital. You still need the local schools. Mm-hmm. You still need the police or the let me say police, some sort of law enforcement that can help regulate things in the community. You still need the grocery store. You still need all these different people play a specific role in the community. Even though the community still has leaders, everyone still has to work together.
I liken it to when I think about like protests. Everybody's like, no, don't protest. You got to peace. Like there's so many aspects of it. Like you need agitators, but you also need people that go about it peacefully. You need lawyers to change laws. You need people in positions of power to move. Like you need it all to move it. I got a line in a rap where
the most important thing you need is money, but go ahead. Money eliminates all that. You have money, not to talk about it anymore. Money changes every conversation. People always talk about it, so I'll be like, people be like, like I love when people be like, money's not everything. I'll be like, all right, when the first come around, tell the bank or your landlord, hey man, money's not everything, and see what their response is.
Tell them I'm rich in spirit.
Tell the bank when they come to get their loan, money isn't everything, and see if they'll respond with you're right. Yeah. Or actually, they may be like, you're right. You got 30 days to get out of here.
Yeah.
We'll find someone that feels like money is everything. You know what I mean? Yeah. And I'm not saying money is everything, but we have to give it the respect it's due. And it's not really money; it's relationships and value.
That's the part.
Currency is relationships. It's not really money. You know what I'm saying? But you have to have good relationships. First of all, you have to be a good person that's willing to help other people and treat other people the way you want to be treated. Yeah. Then you create value. If you have a service or a product. But first of all, you have to be a good person. First of all, that just wants to help other people. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Or unless you just want to, I guess take advantage of people too. I mean, that's what you want to do. But I think at the core, if you're a good person with good intentions and you're willing to help other people, and you think about, you're like, hey, I want to treat other people the way I treat myself. That's kind of where you start. Man, I think you're opening up yourself for so many great things, and then just figuring out who you are. But
no, I think with that, because I left my wallet at the crib one day, and I think I'm a fair person. Like I'm cool people, depending on who I'm around. I'm cool all the time in real life, but I left my wallet and I didn't go hungry that day, just based on relationships. So money definitely has money matters. But I joke about being rich. It matters a lot, especially in America, especially in the world. But also being a great person at the core adds value to people's lives, to where then the financial aspect. Now I can have a great relationship with the banker, but I still got to pay my mortgage, right? But
you can be a great person.
I can be a great person.
You got to pay for the milk at the store. You can't just walk out with the milk. You know what I mean? It's just what it comes down. It's just, It's just some things you can't control. You can't.
We didn't. We was about to go into Kyrie. So, and I actually seen something today with Jaylen Brown, who's one of I think he's the co-president of the Players Association, and they were given he was talking about George, I can't think of his last name, but the owner of the Nets, and just how that punishment is harsh, right? What Kyrie is sitting on. Do you think that's a harsh punishment to he's apologized, right? Like if me and wifey get into it, I say something she don't like and I apologize and I make it right. Like do I still have to continue to
I mean, I think first of all we have to look at the situation. It wouldn't have been such a big deal. First of all, no one would have actually seen that link if Kanye didn't have all that heat on him. No one would have even known Kyrie posted that link. It would have just been like another link he posted. It wouldn't have been like, I don't think it would have been like an uproar. Yeah. But obviously, whatever was happening with Kanye, Kyrie felt that, and then he posted that. I haven't watched the. Also, I don't get it. Me personally, I don't get into the celebrity lives too much. That's rich. That's a rich people problems. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't get into the. That's multi-billion dollar people problems. I don't have that kind of guap to be worried about. You know what I'm saying? Their problems. You know what I'm saying? Like I be worried about my problems. Like so, it's like I don't really think too deep into it like that. I look at it on the surface, and I'm just like, you know what? The punishment is harsh, but I understand why they would think the owner would think. Brooklyn has a lot of Jewish people. A lot of Jewish people live there. So, and with everything going on, it just looks like, even with Dave Chappelle, what Dave Chappelle says, right, there are people that are coming out and saying that Dave Chappelle reinforced what Kyrie and Kanye reinforced the anti-Semitism, you know what I'm saying? And it's just like, for example, this is just my opinion.
It's all opinion, I'm thinking out loud.
You know who Dick Gregory is?
Yes, indeed.
Okay, that's one of my mentors. And I just never met him. Okay, so he said something one time. He was like, there's a difference between being a racist and being a bigot or being prejudiced. And I feel like we abuse words so much that when the real person that person shows up, you don't even have a name for that person. To me, and I learned this from Dick Gregory, and other people that I've talked to. And this is my opinion. You cannot be a racist unless you have the power to destroy people's lives. I agree. And so maybe a low-level racist would be a teacher, because he can fail you on your grade. You know what I'm saying? He can affect your future. Yeah. A low-level racist would be a cop, because they can abuse you. You know what I'm saying? They can abuse you, and then they can fake the paperwork, and you can do time in jail. You know what I mean? So they can affect your life negatively, right? You have to have power. Yeah. The average white person don't have that kind of power. No. The average black person may even have more power than some white people out here. You know what I mean? As far as like based on your money, based on your background, based on all that stuff. All that stuff still matters in America. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. It may look like it's all like black and white, but when you climb high, you see there's some black folks up there, there's some Asian folks up there, there's some minorities up there, there's you know what I mean, there's a lot more people than you would think are up there. It's just that if you create the perception that there's nobody up there, then people won't want to climb the ladder, because like I'm not even trying to go up there because none of my people is up there. You know what I'm saying? It's all smoke and mirrors. Everything is controlled through perception. There's you know what I mean? But so I think most people are prejudiced, and at your worst, maybe you're a bigot. But for you to be a racist, you actually have to have the power to be able to destroy judges, senators, people that lawmakers. These people have power. You know what I'm saying? To change. People have power to change where your kids go to school, to change where you shop, to change where you eat, to change where you can walk into and can't walk out of. That's racism to me. You know what I mean? And I think so. When you spend time calling this every random person that doesn't like black people a racist, like no, and to me a bigot sounds worse than a racist. A bigot is worse. No, I say it sounds worse. The word it just sounds weird. Like the word bigot to me sounds worse than racist. You know what I'm saying? Not saying that a racist is worst because, like I said, you have power, but a bigot could be just a white person at the extreme of their prejudice. Like they're willing to, because to me it's not the issue. See, the system is racist. It's not the fact that the white person assaulted the black person. It's the fact that the system won't hold the white person accountable. Word. You know what I'm saying? Because we're all living out here, and if we're all just gonna be killing each other, then there has to be some accountability to it, right? That should be equal. That should be fair. It's not necessarily because you can't control what people do. This is not Minority Report. You can't just show up right before a person commits a murder, like, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. But it's the fact that the system doesn't hold everybody accountable, and because if you think about it, right, How many black football players do you know that do stuff and never gets and get a slap on the wrist?
Black football players?
Yes.
The only time when I see a black football player in trouble, they are in trouble, and every ESPN is letting you know they're in trouble.
But for the most part, I mean, there's a lot of black dudes that be like, oh, that happened, but it'd be like, you hear some rumbles, but there's no jail time, there's maybe probation and stuff, right? Because they have a certain level of privilege, meaning that they have money, they're a star, they have a certain value that they offer the system. The system is willing to basically look the other way to let them continue to thrive. You know what I'm saying?
They get dog walked.
They got no, absolutely, they absolutely get dog walked. But I think the fact that getting dog walked also just happens to do with America's the culture here.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Like the culture is like, it's not just gonna. It's just like the day Kobe died. I remember instead of everybody mourning, there was all this negativity. It's just a culture. We're a culture of like critique and negativity, as opposed to a culture of compliments and like growth.
We're a culture of world starling jackass.
Oh yeah.
Like we love to see plane crashes.
Absolutely.
Damn, that was a bad analogy, but it's a real thing. We love to see trauma and drama.
I get your point.
And it's wild. And even going back to when we talk racism, I think all the isms, right? Ageism, sexism, anytime the ism is attached, it's due to a level of power, right? But we all walk around.
Or misunderstanding, or programming, or someone just trying to take advantage of somebody else.
The isms are rooted in power. Now, if we talk biases, because we all walk around with biases to keep us safe.
But when you think about tribalism is not always rooted in power, because it's more of like, it's also just brainwashing, or just like, yo, we just don't mess with that tribe. Or my grandpa and that dude's grandpa, my grandpa was a chief and that chief, and they don't mess with each other. So now, generation be like, we don't, it's not, if you think about it, it's never anything too deep. It's never anything that couldn't have been squashed over a glass of wine or some liquor, or you know what I'm saying? It's never anything.
What are the two major tribes in Nigeria?
There's three, Igbo, Yoruba, and Hausa. And I personally feel like a lot of African Americans are Nigerian. Or, because most African Americans, from what I understand, most during slavery, everyone came from the coast, the West Coast. So you have, the West Coast is Nigeria, Togo, Benin, Ghana. You know what I'm saying? So that's where you have the Gold Coast, you have Ghana. I feel like, but then folks be like, I'm the blood of Pharaoh. It's like, bro, that's a long way. That's a long way away. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't. You know what I mean? I can't really say that.
Because history is taught way different in Nigeria, Black history even, than compared to America, of course. I mean,
Western civilization has infiltrated everything, but there is still, in the sense of looking cool, trying to look cooler and trying to be the standard. This is not America. This is back to the days of the British running the world. You know what I mean? They've tried to, but obviously, when Nigerians were given English, we created Pidgin English, or what you would call, what Americans would call Ebonics. You know what I'm saying? So you force a different language on us, we're gonna create something else for ourselves. You know what I mean? So, which is, in alone, that should tell you how powerful. There's so many things we do naturally that we take for granted that show our power, but we just don't even like. We just take it for granted. It's like, you know what I mean? Like, do you know how hard it is to actually memorize a rap?
It's not that easy. Like, as somebody that raps on stage, like it's easy because it's become a second nature. But like, I'll watch people. I liken it to even like public speaking or preparing for a corporate meeting, right? To me, that's the same. But I'll also watch folks like get nervous to have to go public speak, to have to go give like a pitch, right? Whether it be like 100 cups, something like that. It's just light work for me. But I also recognize that kind of communication and communicating ain't always easy for everybody. Getting your thoughts off ain't always easy.
Yeah, I mean, but still, memorizing a rap and memorizing an album, and an album that's thought-provoking, come on, man. Like, there's a lot of we just don't. We need to. We need to give ourselves a lot more credit. It starts with you, right? You have to believe in yourself on such a high level. You have to believe in your power. You have to believe in who you are. And a lot of times you may need, sometimes you may need good role models for that if you didn't have like a dad or a mom that were able to like show you that. So, but there's a lot of good role models. But if you're looking on the outside for role models, then you have to be careful of attachments, because a role model could do something that doesn't necessarily align with your principles, and then and then now you're disappointed, as opposed to just taking it like, okay, they're human, they can make that mistake, but for what it is that it's like for example, you know how I said Dick Gregory was like one of my mentors. I don't take everything he says. You know what I'm saying? I chew the meat and spit the bones out. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I take what he gives that is for me, and the rest, it falls to the wayside. You know what I mean? But I respect him greatly for that, because that, even though I didn't know him, but a lot of information has helped me in my personal life, and I love it, and I've seen it be true. So
that makes me think. I don't know if it's 2025, but it's coming soon. They're gonna unleash these tapes of Martin Luther King.
Oh, the ones where he was. Are you talking about
the ones that could be scathing to his image, right?
I don't think it's going to affect his image, though.
But so that's the part, right? Like, even the way we kind of, if I was to go back to Kanye, or anybody that's in a public space that may say something that we agree with, but as soon as they say something we don't agree with, they push to the wayside and cancel, right? What you were just saying about Dick Gregory, that's a struggle, folks. People.
Folks is nosy.
You are trash, right? It just means my pastor was cheating, right? That doesn't mean that I lose faith, right? It just means I recognize, oh, he's just a man,
right?
And that's the part that people struggle with.
Well, also America has we live in a world where we exalt the wrong celebrities.
Yeah.
A good teacher, that should be the celebrity. A real pastor, that should be a celebrity. You know.
Oh, you preaching today, so I would say you're somewhat of a pastor.
I mean,
it just depends on the conversation, right?
I mean, the people who actually are changing people's lives should be celebrities, not actors. Like, we act like acting is like the only talent in the no, we treat acting and music as like the premier talents in the world. So if you're a good actor, you're numero uno. If you're a good singer, you're numero uno. And it's like, no. And then you want to pay the people that are actually like responsible for affecting the way the world goes, the teachers, like the moms, the regular people. Yeah. These are people that should be celebrities. So we just have it backwards in who we celebrate, and that culture creates what you have, like the Shade Room and all these TV shows, and on top of that, you add to the insecurity, and that's what makes people start getting, it affects their self-esteem, and they start making all kinds of crazy decisions. And whenever a celebrity does something, at that point, they've bought into it's not necessarily just the celebrity. They've bought into the celebrity culture. Like, celebrities don't impress me like that. You know what I mean? Like, I used to have so much respect for Nas, which I still do. I used to think that if I saw Nas in person, I'd be like, oh my God, this is, you know what I'm saying? Like, but I was like, then it hit me. I was like, yes, I should respect his work, because he is lethal, and he has used the gift God gave him. But I'm also trying to be a Nas in what I'm doing too. You know what I mean? And I'm sure if I got to that level, if I was on that level, if I am on that level, and he knew that information, he would respect me too.
100%. It's so, like I see the running joke. Would you take dinner with Jay-Z or the 500,000?
I take the 500,000.
I'm taking the 500,000. I love Hov. It's my favorite. But I need the point. Like,
I already know what I'm going to use 500,000 for. But actually, let me take that back. It depends on the time. Right now, I may take the convo with Hov, just because I got a few things that I may need Hov to co-sign. Okay. But if it's just on a regular, there's no point in taking a convo with Hov if you don't have an exact goal Like if you don't have an exact business you're working on, you don't have an exact like a plan. Not even a plan, just a direction. Because all he's gonna give you is advice based on the experience and based on what he knows. Right?
Hey man, I've listened to the Black Album, the Blueprint 2, the Blueprint, American Gangster, 444, and this guy did verse. I know what he gonna tell me. I'm gonna take this lunch. I mean, this cash.
Yeah, I mean, but that's because you have a plan. You know exactly what you're gonna do with the money. So it not only it's a different situation for everybody. It's a different situation in itself. It depends on where am I in my life at that point when I get that. Like for example, if you win the way I act when I win 50 million at 21 may not be the way I act when I win 50 million at 45. You know what I'm saying? It's probably going to be different. I may still do certain things that are similar. I may still have certain habits that I may not have gotten rid of, but I'm not gonna, you know what I mean? At 21, I may buy 10 Ferraris. At 45, I may buy 2. You know what I mean? Like, I may still splurge, but it's just, like, you see what I'm saying? Because at that point, different things mean more to me. Hopefully I've experienced life enough to the point to where I now see what life for what it is. And I'm not jaded, and I don't, I'm basically, the way I look at life is that your first 21 years is just brainwashing. And hopefully your parents have done a good job of brainwashed you with the right things, right? 100%. Or at least some of the right things.
No, that's real.
And then the rest of your life is you either living out that or changing a lot of that stuff to find who you are. Have you ever seen this video with Lauryn Hill where she says she had to reintroduce herself to her parents because she kept finding herself, and she was like, y'all think you know me? She's like, I don't even know me. You know what I mean? So and that's what I was saying. I was like, you don't really know what you're capable of until you're pushed. So it's an evolution. You're constantly finding, out who you are. You're hopefully constantly getting better. And as you get older, you should want to get better. You should, because those experiences should make you more wise. Because now you've gained all that knowledge, and the age hopefully gives you the understanding that you need, to excel in life.
Listen, Nnanna, we've been talking for a very long time. Yeah. You've been giving a lot of isms, and I got like 5 questions that I ain't even hit on, right? But I'm a. You have
enough time?
We don't got enough time, man. But I'm gonna have you back.
Okay.
Part 2. Cool. Just like the Kanye joint. We're gonna go even crazy. But a question I do have to ask you. Okay. Right, especially with all the game that you're giving. You 45, so you 10 years my senior.
Well, I'm 39. I'm turning 40.
39. Oh, no disrespect. Yeah. Okay, no disrespect.
Yeah, hold on, man.
Hold on. Okay, you said 45, so you still got. Hey, and 45 is even young in that, right? But the biggest question I want to ask you, man, and you talk how your parents instilled in you. You talk about even as the things that we brainwashed with. How has having children changed you?
Time. I don't have first of all, I don't have as much time as I used to have for myself. It's let me realize I'm way more disciplined than I think I am. It's let me realize that I'm also way more impatient than I think I am.
Because you got 2 girls too, right?
I got 2 girls.
Yeah.
But it's let me realize that it's okay to start again every day. It's okay because kids are forgiving, and they don't see life the same way you see life. You know what I mean? They have their own, because kids have goals too and dreams, but they're very specific. I want a snack right now. You know what I'm saying? And they'll be on you forever. Or I want to go to the park, or I want to go do this. And kids are actually very goal-driven, very goal-driven. We are, the society. They don't have distractions. Society kind of makes you want to change that. But naturally, they say, you really have 7 years where where a human being is pure. And in that 7 years, that's when you're supposed to kind of give them the best, the best influence. Because basically once a child hits 7, at that point, they just taking stuff in and developing like on their own. I mean, you're still hitting them, they're still learning, but that first 7 years of everything you could have instilled in them, whether you wanted them to be able to pray at night, or whether you wanted them to be able to make their own beds. Like my kids.
7 years where they believe everything you say.
My kids knew where the trash can was when they were crawling. You know what I'm saying? Like, like it's like, I mean, I'm being sarcastic, but you know what I mean? Like, I make sure that there's accountability. And I'm not a perfect dad. I'm trying to get better every year. But it's the best thing that's ever happened to me. I'm fortunate to even have, that God even thought, the way I look at it is that I'm fortunate enough that God would even think of making me a father. Yeah. So that alone makes me thankful and gives me the drive I need to be a better person. And every day I'm like, you know what? As much as I want to help other people, I got to remember that I also got to help my kids too. You know what I mean? So it's like whatever you're pouring into your business, whatever energy you're pouring into your friends, your families, pouring into helping other people, pouring into society, I try to double down even more with my kids and try to, like, you know what I mean, make sure I'm going hard. I'm going hard with them. But I can't really say how it's changing because I feel like I'm a rookie dad still. You know what I mean? My first kid just turned 3, so I feel like I'm still a rookie. I saw Barnett at a Shop and Grub, and I was telling him, I was telling him because Barnett's like an OG dad, like his kids is grown. So
he's got one 4 years older than mine.
Yeah. Like his kids is grown. So I was like, I kind of like asked him for like dad advice. Like I was just like, bro, like how did you do it? Like your kids, you know what I'm saying? And one of the advice he gave me was just like, don't try to be perfect. You know what I'm saying? Because that's just never gonna happen. Like you know what I'm saying? But just make sure that you're there, like you're present all the time. So I think that's very important. Is just to be a present dad, to be an active dad. It's very important. You know what I mean? Because children need that as they grow. And they need someone that they can trust, someone that they feel like they can come to with anything and everything at all points in their life. You know, we all, even as we grow older, we still find that you want that, whether it's in your wife, whether it's in your mom or dad or your sister, your homies, your brothers, sisters, whatever the case may be. You still want someone you can confide in and that can give you real information. Good criticism, you know what I mean?
Daughters, and I'm gonna close with this, right? The thing about daughters, right, they are the most honest people in the world, right? To a man, right, I believe, right? Because they're able to tell you everything that your mother or your wife may have on their mind about you, but there's no repercussion for them giving you the truth. Right. And you cannot respond to them the same way that you may your wife or mother, right? So it's like, it's a true reflection and a perspective of who you are at the core, and it is humbling. My daughter's 14, and some of the conversations we have, I'll be like, wow.
Yo, there was a time where I was like, do you remember the time where you used to put up a lot of videos of you and your fam?
Yes, indeed.
Bro, you could have had your own show, man. Even my wife said it. My wife was like, yo, Sam needs his own show.
Word.
Like she said Sam and his family, they need their own show. Like, you should do it on Instagram.
We're gonna work on it. We're gonna get to it. We're gonna make it pop.
Do it on Instagram.
Listen,
no branding or marketing talk today?
No branding or marketing talk.
Cool.
We got so many more. I mean, I got 20 more questions that I could ask you because we could talk all day.
Well, you know what? I never really have interviews about stuff like this though. You know what I'm saying? Wait, I'm just talking about myself or talking about like, are we off? Oh. I never, I just never have interviews where it's just like a general conversation. It's mostly, it's always about business, or it's always about marketing and branding, or how I feel about the local scene and stuff like that. And we touch on some of that, but I never really get a chance to actually go in depth. So it was. I think that was, it's thinking out loud. So it's
That's
like,
it.
you know what I'm saying?
That's
like, just forgive me if I sound open-ended and never closed.
Listen, that's the point of this, right?
I apologize.
I want anybody that comes thinking out loud to be comfortable, man, because this is just a conversation, right? And
it was a great conversation.
That's it. So I appreciate you sharing your time, your thoughts with me. Y'all make sure y'all check out Shop and Grub.
Yes, this Sunday.
This Sunday. Hopefully we drive by them, or we'll at least have this clip out. Who knows how it works, but we'll definitely make sure the world knows about Shop and Grub. The biggest love, peace, and big blessings. Samuel David, appreciate you, Nnanna.
Thanks,
shout
man.
out to Gabe. Shout out to Mulberry Art Gallery. Shout out to the joiners. QTTG.
I got a lot of living to do before I die. I ain't got time to waste. Time don't wait.